What's going on, guys? T-Mart here, and today I wanted to bring you guys just kind of like a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare multiplayer, kind of like first impressions / review of everything that I kind of played and saw, because I've been doing a bunch of videos about Advanced Warfare lately, just kind of talking about every little thing you need to know about the game, but I haven't really done like a full-on review or actually talk about, you know, what I thought, what it felt like, how I think it's changed, hasn't changed, things like that. And a lot of you guys have been asked for that, so I figured, why not give you what you want? So yeah, we're just going to go through some topics that I came up with that I figured you guys would know about the game, and I'll just kind of try to give you guys a little bit of insight and just kind of like my feelings, my opinions, and what I, you know, felt and saw and thought about the game. So starting off, the first thing, like the biggest change that I saw in Advanced Warfare was the movement. This thing is absolutely blazingly fast, and you can ask anybody who's played it. This is by far the biggest change. I just, you know, it's literally like breakneck speed fast. Like I'm not sure exactly what's contributing to that. You know, I think a lot of the maps are kind of like smaller to medium size, at least from the 4 maps that we've seen so far, as well as, you know, obviously like the Exo Movement and that kind of stuff really has a big deal to do with that. But it's just, it is quick, man. It's a very, very, very fast game in a good way, though. Like it's not too fast. It's just like it's addictingly fast. Like there's always so much going on that it's just, you know, it's crazy. You know, it's not as, you know, slow paced, aim down sight, you know, kind of like Ghosts is. It's, you know, more closer to that Black Ops 2 feeling, which is pretty exciting. Now, speaking of the Exo Movement, obviously, that has something to do with the movement there, and you know, this is like, it's one of the biggest changes we've ever seen in Call of Duty. Like for the past 6, 7, 8 years, Call of Duty has always remained the same base game, and I think this is the biggest change we've ever had, is the addition of the jetpacks, and you know, being able to boost jump and boost dodge and slide and slam and all that stuff. Like it's just, it's crazy how big of a role these things play in the multiplayer. When I was at this, you know, kind of like reveal event, you know, obviously there are YouTubers there, and then there was also like traditional press there, and I noticed a lot of the traditional press, they were playing Call of Duty like old school Call of Duty. You know, they're not necessarily Call of Duty players, so they weren't really, you know, delving into all the new things you can do with the Exo Movement and the double jumps and the sliding and the dodging and stuff like that. So they're playing like old school Call of Duty, and they were just getting absolutely demolished, because you can't play that way in this game. You, like, the people who can master the movement and the abilities of the exosuit are going to be the people who are really, really good at this game. And that's kind of cool. You know, it kind of extends that skill gap there, where it's not only being a smart player, it's not only having good gun skill, but now you got to be good on your sticks. You got to be good at moving around the map. You got to be good at kind of like stringing lines together and things like that, which is pretty cool. You know, it's an entirely new dynamic added to the game that I really like. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's just, you know, like I said, this game is insanely fast. It's very addicting. If you guys have that, you know, like gamer ADD that we all have, this thing is definitely going to get your fix for that. So that's pretty good. Now, it's very fast, you know, don't get me wrong there, but the gunfights, or the time to kill, is actually, like, I wouldn't call it slow, but it's slower than Ghost. Like, you guys know in Ghost, the way that Ghost plays, the way that the guns kill in like those 2 to 3 shots, and it's just like, whoever is aiming down sight in Call of Duty Ghost wins that gunfight 99 out of 100 times. Like, if you come around the corner, even if you're better than that person, even if you jump shot and aim and, you know, do all that, if they're aiming down sights and they, you know, get that first shot on you, you're almost always guaranteed to die. And that's what's really, really frustrating. It really slows down the speed of the gameplay. But in this game, in Advanced Warfare, it feels a lot more like Black Ops 2, to where, you know, obviously the person that's, you know, aiming down sight and setting themselves up has a slight advantage, but that doesn't mean that they're guaranteed to win that gunfight. You know, because the guns don't kill as quickly, you have a chance to, you know, turn around and take them out. Or because now we have these Exo abilities, you can boost dodge out of the way and then turn and take them out. Or boost dodge around a corner and then double jump over the building that they're next to and come down behind them. You know, there's so many different options now. So it really, like, gunfights are a lot of fun. I was getting into a few gunfights with people that lasted like 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. Like, we were like boost dodging around stuff, and it gets really, really intense. And I think, you know, like I said, the people that can master that movement are really gonna, you know, have a big advantage in this game. So it's pretty cool. You know, I really do like the way that the guns don't kill quite as fast, and it doesn't really kind of you know, cater itself towards that campier, aim down sight behind a piece of cover gameplay, because, you know, people that play like that now are gonna get destroyed, because they're gonna get jumped up behind. They're gonna get, you know, people are gonna get on top of them, around them, before they even know what's going on. So that's pretty cool. And then, you know, obviously the Exo Movement for gunfights, you know, especially what we're going to see in esports and things like that, it's going to be crazy, because now there's no longer the simple drop shot or the jump shot to evade enemy fire. Like, now you've got boosting and sliding and dodging and, you know, all this stuff. So it's just, you know, it's honestly crazy, man. It really is crazy, but in a good way. Like, it's definitely a lot of fun. and it's definitely one of the most, you know, like I said, it's like the biggest change that we've seen in Call of Duty up until this point, which is pretty cool. Now, moving on to the maps. Let's talk about these maps, baby. So we've only been able to see 4 multiplayer maps so far. I think usually there's like 16 to 20 when a game first, maybe 12 to 20. I'm not sure, but there's a good amount. We'll say like 15 for, you know, kind of middle range number. So we could expect around 15, but we've seen 4 so far. The first one that I want to talk about is Ascend. This one is the one that you guys have seen CTF gameplay on. It's a futuristic space terminal. It's probably my favorite map of the 4. It just really reminds me of like an old school Call of Duty map. Like it's pretty simple. You know, there's not too much verticality. There's a little bit, but not too much. And there's like 3 primary lanes, and you know, everything just kind of makes sense. Like the flow of the map really makes sense. It's not like a bunch of chaos and hecticness everywhere, and you never really know where to expect enemies. You always know the general direction they're going to be coming from, which is kind of nice. You know, I really do like that, and I think a lot of their maps are kind of based around that mentality. Next up, we got Biolab. This is the snow map you guys have been seeing TDM gameplay on. This one's super open and has like long range engagement areas on the exterior, and then it's got like an interior, you know, kind of like Biolab base where it's got, you know, close quarters combat and stuff like that. So it's a really well balanced map. It's got a little bit of interactivity where like this big cargo bob chopper brings in this like mobile building house type thing and like drops it down. It cuts off a bunch of sight lines and gives you another structure to go up into, and you know, really changes like half the map right in the middle of the game. So that's kind of cool. It wasn't my favorite, but you know, it was still a pretty good map. Next up, we've got Defender. So this is the one that has the tidal wave crash into the shoreline in the middle of the match. It's the one that you guys have been seeing the new game mode uplink on. It's very open and large, you know, many long lines of sight, definitely built with assault rifles and snipers in mind. So you know, that's kind of cool. You know, you always want, you know, a map kind of like that. So that's a pretty good one. And then finally, Riot. This is a really cool one. This is probably my second favorite, if not tied for first with Ascend. This one is the jail one that you guys have seen Hardpoint gameplay on. It's literally perfect for Hardpoint. Like, I don't know, it's just, it's a really, really great size. Like, it's not too big, it's not too small. You can, you know, evade enemies if you want to, or you can get right into the action within a couple of seconds if you want to. Again, it's one of those ones where it's got kind of like a more open, longer range exterior with a chaotic interior, and it's got a cool map-based kill streak called the, I believe, the inmate detection system or something like that, where like these little drones will fly around and tag enemies, and it kind of like highlights them on your mini-map like a Blackbird or an orbital VSAT. You know, on your and then your teammates' minimap. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, it's just, you know, it seems like they have a good variety of maps in there. You know, none of them are too crazy. None of them seem too chaotic. And you know, they've got a nice range of, you know, kind of smaller to medium, and then medium to, you know, I wouldn't even call them large. Like, Ghost had enormous maps, and I haven't seen anything that's been absolutely like, crazily enormous, like Whiteout or Stonehaven or anything like that in this game. So that's pretty good. You know, those maps got kind of boring at times. And yeah, I don't know. I think they, you know, some are catered towards, you know, SMGs and shotguns. Some are catered towards assault rifles and snipers, and then some are right in the middle where you can use whatever you want, which is kind of cool. Now, moving on, let's talk about weapons. So we haven't really seen everything yet. We've only seen a couple of weapons in each category, but I was impressed with what I saw. There's just, you know, there's a ton of variety, you know, in each and every class, and you know, the different weapons have different advantages and disadvantages, and then there are some fun weapons like the dual heavy machine guns that you can run around with, and you can plant them in the ground and act like a turret, and like they aren't very good, honestly, but they're fun to use. And yeah, I don't know, there's just, you know, there's a lot of variety in there. And then, you know, of course, if you guys saw my weapons like variant video that I put up a couple of days ago, there's literally over 350 variants of weapons in this game, because each weapon that you unlock via XP has like 10 other versions of that weapon that you unlock via your supply drops that have slightly modified stats. So, you know, it's really cool that they've done that, and that they're like literally, we're used to seeing like 20 to 30 weapons in a game, and now we've got over 350, which is absolutely amazing. So that's pretty cool. Now, moving on, game types. This is where I think they have absolutely killed it. I think Sledgehammer has done such a good job with the game types in this game that, you know, I don't know, they've really just kind of done it all. Like, they have the regular Call of Duty modes that we all know and love, like Team Deathmatch, Domination, Kill Confirm, Search and Destroy, you know, the old school games that have been around forever and everybody really likes. They've got those in there. They've also got modes returning from previous games that people really liked as well. So CTF is coming back. Hardpoint is coming back. Search and Rescue is coming back. And War is coming back. It's called Momentum, but it's, you know, basically War, slightly modified. So You know, obviously that's a good thing. And then also, they're trying to come up with new modes on their own. So we've seen Uplink. I did a video on that. I'll link it down in the description. You know, it's kind of like a game of like Quidditch. Like you run around with this ball and you try to get into the other team's, you know, score goal thing to score for your team. And that's kind of cool. And, you know, I don't know. You know, maybe they have other new game modes. Like Uplink is a lot of fun. I think Uplink is going to be a big hit in esports. And I think it's going to be a big hit for, you know, casual players as well. So I'm interested to see, you know, what else they've come up with, because Uplink's a pretty good one. And hopefully that's kind of an indication of their other new ones that they have coming, which is pretty exciting. Now, next up, let's talk about perks. There are very, very, very few perks compared to Call of Duty Ghosts. Call of Duty Ghosts had an ass load of perks, an absolute insane number of perks, a lot of which I didn't really use all that much, but it was still cool to have them in there, because, you know, if you wanted to make a, like, really niche class with, like, certain things on it, you could do that. Like, there are a lot of different options, you know, and, you know, this game doesn't really have that. Like, there are very, very few. I think there's, like, 6 perks per category, so, like, 18 perks total, whereas Ghosts had, what, like, probably 30 or 40, maybe even more. So yeah, there's a lot fewer perks, which means, you know, there's not quite as much customization, but it does just kind of simplify it a bit, which, you know, can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. You know, one thing that I don't... Not that I don't agree with, but I'm unsure about at this point is removal of dead silence. So it's not that big of a deal in public matches. I didn't really use dead silence all that much in public matches, but it is a very big deal for like ranked playlists, so like the new league play that's coming in this game, as well as for, you know, esports like tournaments and stuff like that. Like the reason why they did this is because they didn't like the idea that dead silence was like a staple perk. Like you had to have that perk. So, you know, it'd probably be a perk 3 in this game, so that means your perk 3 slot was always going to be taken up by dead silence and nothing else. And they didn't like that idea. They wanted, you know, professional players to be able to, you know, mix it up and have different strategies with different perks, which I understand, that makes sense. But at the same time, you know, that really, it's going to change the way it's played, because now everybody can sound whore everybody else, which is, you know, obviously, you know, not the best thing in the world. It's going to kind of take away from the gameplay a little bit. So, I don't know. It could end up being a good thing. It could end up being a bad thing. We're just going to have to wait and see once the game finally comes out. But that's just something that, you know, I'm a little bit wishy-washy. Almost everything that they've done, I've been really, really happy about. But that is just something that I'm a little bit nervous about. But, you know, who knows? It obviously could end up being very, very good and you know, make competitive even better. So, we'll just have to wait and see. We had to keep an open mind. Now, next up, as for Killstreaks, we only saw a few of the Killstreaks, you know, in this kind of like pre-release version of the build. You know, there weren't all of the Killstreaks that are going to be in the full retail version of the game yet. So, you know, obviously we can't judge it quite yet, but, you know, the ones I did see were really cool. You know, they've got some cool airstrike ones. They've got some cool gunship ones where you shoot down. They've got the new XS one. I forget what it's called. It's the giant mech suit type thing that you can get into and shoot enemies with a machine gun and stuff like that. You know, there's some new ones. There's some old favorites. You know, they're pretty cool. One thing I did notice is it seems like they're somewhat harder to earn, and but they're more rewarding once you do get them. Like, you seem to get more kills with these things than you do in previous Call of Duty games, especially Ghosts. I feel like my kill streaks never really get me kills in Ghosts. But yeah, they seem to be a little bit harder to earn. I don't know if that's just because I was playing against better players at these, you know, open reveal events or what. But you know, they were pretty rewarding once you did get them, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the attachments. Attachments. This is another one of the biggest changes we've seen in Call of Duty in a long time. You can now completely customize your kill streaks and add attachments to them to make them, you know, vary in what they actually do. Like the remote turret that you control and shoot with, you can add an attachment that lets you pull it off of the hinges and walk around with it, and then you can add another attachment that makes it shoot rockets or shoot laser beams instead of shooting regular bullets, which is obviously pretty cool, and it really kind of adds to the customization. That's kind of like the final thing I want to talk about, and another one of the things that they really killed. Like, they did really well with the game types, but they also just absolutely destroyed the customization aspect of this game. Like, all the visual items they have for your character, you know, everything from accessories, like, you know, things that you put in your face, like goggles and glasses and things like that, to hats, to armor, to, you know, pants, to boots, to shoes, to gloves, to, you know, all that stuff. And then there's the custom exosuits, and you know, it's just like, it's absolutely insane how many visual items they have that you can unlock and you can put on your soldier in this game. I think they said that there's literally billions of combinations. So, you know, that's obviously a very big thing, and a lot of people really like that kind of like grinding out for visual things, which is pretty cool. Then they also have over 350 different weapons, which we mentioned earlier, so that's, you know, another kind of customization thing. Like, it's no longer like you pick a weapon and you modify it by the attachments. Now you pick a weapon, you pick a variation of that weapon, and then you modify it with your attachments, which is, you know, just something we've never seen before. And they've also got the customization with the attachments and the Killstreaks, which we just mentioned just before this. And then finally, you know, obviously the Pick 13 system. Like, I really missed the Pick 10 system from Black Ops 2. And the Pick 13 system is pretty much the exact same thing, just improved, because it adds in the Killstreaks to the mix. So now, like, you know, like I mentioned before, you can choose. You know, you can completely load up on like perks and wild cards and, you know, equipment and attachments on your weapons and not take any kill streaks, or you can load up on kill streaks and sacrifice everything else, or you can, you know, you can really put emphasis on whatever you want, whether that be attachments, perks, wild cards, equipment, kill streaks. You can choose what you want to put on what and what you want to load up on, and, you know, things like that to really customize your class and really just kind of make it all about you, I guess I could say. Like, it's all about being you in this game, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of freedom. You know, it's like they gave us a coloring book that has some lines in there, but it's not a paint by number. It's not like you put this color here, this color here, this color here, and it's not like a dictatorship Call of Duty. It's like, you know, they're like, hey, here's a slight outline of a drawing, here's a bunch of crayons, a bunch of markers, a bunch of colored pencils, and a bunch of watercolor paint. Do whatever the hell you want, and as long as you stay in some, you know, vague boundaries that they've built for you. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. I really liked the game. You know, obviously this was my first time playing it, and, you know, every time you play something new, it's going to really kind of be like a honeymoon stage. But I think that this is a great game. I think it's going to be a very, very good game. I think it's going to have a lot more longevity than Ghost did, and I just, you know, I think they're going to do a good job with the DLC. I think they're really going to pay attention to the community. Like, it seems like they've completely built this thing with the community in mind. They've literally listened to us every step of the way, and I think they've done a really good job so far, and I hope they continue to do so. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about Advanced Warfare. Hopefully you guys are too. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or things that I left unanswered that you want to hear about, you know, my experiences playing this multiplayer, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and if we have enough good questions, I'll probably make kind of like a part 2 to this video and kind of answer some stuff that I may have missed in this one that you guys want to know about. So, yeah, if you have any of that stuff, leave it down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. I will catch you guys later. Check out one of the other videos. Seen yet? Peace out, guys.